Felix here, and welcome to this pre-market live on a day where the US and Europe have made friends. Well, actually, the US pretty much bullied the Europeans into submission, but it's worked, and the market is absolutely freaking loving it. Let me just show you the pre-market here just to cheer you up. There we go. This is pre-market. There is a lot of green here. Palantir up 1.3, Oracle 1.1, AMD up almost 2%, Tesla's up 1.3%. All the big tech stocks are up. Basically everything is up. I mean, very, very, very few exceptions. And that's just because it is a big, beautiful rally. I want to explain that to you because there's a reason for it, and it'll help you make better decisions in the next coming days, but also once the enthusiasm fades off a little bit, it's important to understand exactly what's going on here. If you think there will be some value in that, smash the like button or something like that, and I'll walk you through it. So Winston's with us too, by the way. Where is Winston? Here is Winston. Why are you off the camera, Winston? There he is. And the monitor that sadly died a death today because some little bugger decided to, knock it over, really. It wasn't Winston, of course. He's very well behaved. Now, here it is from the Financial Times. There is no hiding the fact that the EU was rolled over by the Trump juggernaut, said one ambassador. Trump worked out exactly where our pain threshold is. I've always said it. Trump is a very, very good negotiator. And the deal marks, this is also the FT, a victory for Trump, who has spent months forcing America's trading partners into bruising negotiations by threatening steep tariffs, although the terms are in line with what Brussels had told EU member states to prepare for. But the negotiations have been going on for some time. The US and the Chinese have also extended by another 90 days their sort of negotiation, which means the high tariffs won't kick in there either. So the market is just absolutely overjoyed. It is actually not Taco Monday. They tacoed. I mean, they gave in. The Europeans flopped, as they usually do. So here is the deal in a nutshell. Europe is going to purchase $750 billion in energy from the US, oil and gas. They're going to invest $600 billion in the US on top of existing investments, presumably factories and that sort of thing. And they're going to open up Europe's markets to trade with the US at zero tariffs. And that's a big freaking new deal. I used to sell a heck of a lot of American whiskey into Europe, for example, and there were always pretty steep tariffs and duties on that. It's going to be zero. And this, of course, is who really runs the show. Vast amounts of military equipment will be be bought. So, like the Germans, my folk, who are going to spend 400 billion euros of money they haven't got on arms, well, it's not going to the German arms manufacturers. A lot of that is going to go to the US. There will still be some tariffs on pharma and autos, which is pretty extraordinary. So overall, this is a bigly win for the US. I would argue it's a big win. And the Europe was always going to be the biggest, probably the most contentious, that in China. And that Europe caves in means everybody else is going to get this kind of deal or worse, right? So it's tremendous. They got our stuff cheaper, no tariffs. Yeah, but Europe's had it's a very protectionist environment, right? They want to protect their farmers and their industries and everything else. Now they got to compete with you lot. But for us here, what really matters, it's not politics, it's not what you think of it, none of that. It's all about lowering inflation. Because Powell, Jerome the Powell, money printer Powell, he basically said if there weren't tariffs, rate cuts would be possible. Well, they're now going to be pretty low tariffs, much lower than people had feared. And that means inflation will literally be lower. What does lower inflation do? Well, it allows interest rates to start to drop. So it'll be very interesting to see what the Fed decides this week. I'll show you when that's happening as well in just a second. I'm going to give you a screenshot of all the dates that are important for you for this week. And, Trump was saying he's going to finance all this spending with tariffs, and everyone's like, yeah, right, you are. Well, at the moment, they're bringing in about $300 billion a year in revenue, $300 billion. And with this deal, that sounds likely to continue. It sounds that trading partners are willing to pay about 15%. And that means the US might collect an extra $3 trillion if there isn't a huge switching to, say, domestic production in the US over the next 10 years. And what does that do? Well, that lowers the deficit. Now, a lower deficit does what? What if you have to sell less debt? If you have to sell less debt, it means you can sell them at lower interest rates. So again, it lowers rates. So this is a boon for the market because the stock market goes up when rates go down, right? It's a direct correlation on that front. So this is very, very good news for the stock market, which is why it's rallying so much. Does that sink in so far? Does that make some sense? If that makes some sense, put a 1 in the chat so I can see it. 300 billion revenue from who? We pay the tariffs. Possibly. Although the jury is still very much out on that, but it's just 300 billion extra tax. And I mean, quite frankly, you guys need, because you're spending way, way, way more than you're bringing in. So you just need to raise taxes and need to cut spending. I don't know if they're going to manage the cutting, but okay, I'm seeing some ones here. Amy, you're very kind. Appreciate you tuning in. Say hello to your lovely children. And the question therefore is, what do you do? What do you buy when everything goes up? Do you just buy everything? Or is there maybe a sector or an industry, like a little niche that's going to do better than everything else? Well, that's what we do. We look for the good niches of the moment, and then we buy those, and then we make more money than most. That's the goal. So if you want to understand which one to buy, I've recorded a 15-minute video, like literally crammed like 10 years of learning into 15 minutes. And some people say, I haven't got the 15 minutes. I'm like, well, it took me 10 years. And endless screw-ups. So if you want to learn that, my friends, there is a link down below in the description. It's also in the live chat here. You can click on it. I've just pinned it to the live chat as well. And if you are going to leave this live chat right now, and this live stream right now to learn, because you actually care about what your output is, not just the latest bit of news, which you just heard, then just say, right, I'm out of here, or something like that in the chat. And I'd be very, very happy to see you go. I'd be very, very happy if our viewer numbers drop off from its current 2,700 or so concurrent viewers to less, because it means you guys are actually taking steps to do something that's meaningful and useful. There's also even a QR code at the bottom of the screen for those of you who can't manage to click a link. So yeah, lower deficit. And on top of that, we're going to have a lot of data this week, a lot of data. And if these guys come in as we'd expect them to, and I mean, I'm talking about Microsoft, Meta, Apple, Amazon, MasterCard, Exxon. I mean, the big guys, right? You know, ARM, Qualcomm, they matter. Visa matters. UNH matters. Spotify matters. PayPal matters. Stellantis, Starbucks, they all are huge, huge businesses. They're all reporting this week. And so by the end of this week, hopefully, we're going to continue with the current beat, because so far, they've been beating very, very, very nicely, companies reporting this quarter. And that would therefore mean the party continues, my friends. The party continues. So everyone's going to be a genius for just a little bit longer. Just remember, do you remember when the COVID party fizzled out and the markets really, really dropped hard on recession fears? Something like that's going to happen again. I guarantee it. It always does. And a lot of people will be caught without their, they'll be swimming naked. And you know what happens when the tide comes, it goes out, sort of thing. And if you were in that situation last time and you're now back to good stuff, you got to ask yourself what element of that was just the market, i.e. luck, right? Because you don't control the market. And what element of that is your risk management? What element of that is you being in control? And in my book, a profit is a profit, but a profit is a really good profit if it's because I did something, not just because the market just went up 10% or whatever, So please, please, please use this glorious, beautiful market to make lots of money and lots of wealth, but at the same time, learn risk management, because it's simple, it's automated, it makes you sleep, makes everything in life better. I tell you, everything is better. Food tastes better. You'll be better looking. Everything will be better because you don't have to worry about stuff anymore, because it's actually automated. So I'll teach you that also. If you watch this here, felixprehn.org/get free, and good stuff will be happening. George, I will not be naked again. I have stops. That's good, George. You will be naked again, though, I hope. Right, where's Sofa for Tuesday? Yeah, I guess I didn't make the list because they're not quite that big, but they are also coming on Tuesday, yeah. Why does your heat map have different numbers? Intel's down 8%. Are you still looking at, the last day's data? Probably, right? I think you're still looking at Friday's data. Where was Intel? Yeah. Click on pre-market. This is in Trade Vision here. felixprehn.org/Trade Vision here. There's a link down below as well. I'll put the link in the chat for you as well to get a free trial to that too, because it's something we build and it's really useful. And then, yeah, you have access to the pre-market data there live as well. Jim, I've automated my stops. Amazing, my friend. I didn't do it says, have you ever thought about redoing a 6-hour class but geared towards kids so we can teach them what schools won't? I have. Yes. I haven't done it yet, clearly, but I'd love to do that. Yes, I would love to do that. Actually, on that note, and that's actually a very, very good note, I'm actually looking for a full-time content director. So if anybody is out there, what would be the requirement to work for me? You love YouTube. That would be the primary requirement. It'd be great if you've made some content or done some writing or just generally some thinking and planning and so on. And you'd work with me and my team to just make way greater content. So we're looking for somebody, honestly, and we won't just hire you, but we'll actually have you trained by literally the greatest YouTube content creator director there ever was. And I'm not going to tell you who he is, but he's worked with like the biggest names that are out there, and I'm very excited for that. But we need the right person who's a good fit for that. So if you love YouTube, a bit of an interest in finance and so on, and you're looking to make something beautiful and creative and fun and entertaining, but also that really delivers super high value and education to people, then what can you do? Well, just drop me an email. That would be the best thing to do. I would put my email in the chat here. It is on the screen, rather. Felix@goatacademy.org. And just send me whatever you want to send me. Be interesting to see how you think, really. My wife is a YouTuber, but retired. That could be it. That could be it. Where do I send my resume, Graham? Here we go. Actually, the best thing you could do is just send me, if you've done something like this before, send me a video you've worked on and how you came up with it and what the process was. If you haven't, just come up with an idea. Like, it doesn't have to be perfect or right. It's just a question of like, I want to see how you think. That's really what it's all about. So my email is there. Drop me a message, and we pay well. Because I think people need to be paid well. Like all of my team, they're making a lot of money because I think people deserve it, and it's more fun. We sort of just, it's not necessarily business sense. It's more just like, life's a lot more fun when everyone's doing well, which is what this community is really all about, isn't it? Everybody doing well. So, all right, what else have we got? Tomorrow, jobs data, important, GDP. But the really big one this week is the Fed interest rate decision on Wednesday, the Fed press conference. I don't expect for a second that Jerome, the money printer Powell, is going to do a backflip on Wednesday and is going to cut rates. But his language might soften, because he'll say we have a lot more certainty around trade deals now, the biggest of them all. Europe is done. If we get, the Canadians and the moose south of the border, those deals done as well, then you really wouldn't have much to worry about in terms of inflation, because you know what it is. Okay, there is China. That's an issue in itself. But given that they're kicking the can down the road there again, we're not expecting, 70% tariffs on China. Mike says, I'm in the academy, closer to my goal of quitting my 9-to-5. Cheers, Felix. I'm very proud of you, Mike. And you'll join a pretty big group now of people who've quit their jobs. And you don't have to, by the way. You can, maybe you love what you do, or maybe you have a business or something. You can invest and trade and still do something else. In fact, I encourage it. But if your life is being sucked out by your job and your cubicle, then come and do something about it. And a good way to start is just to watch the masterclass. It's free, felixprehn.org/get-free. You get a lot of knowledge, you get a lot of idea about what we do. And then if you want to have a chat with us, it'll give you an option to do that as well. Up to you. As Scott's saying, there's a difference between trading and investing. Yeah, there is, but it's also fairly similar. It's just, yeah, it's a little bit about risk, and it's a little bit about activity and time frame. Although funnily enough, investors actually tend to take, well, they take more risk on individual stocks, right? Because you exit much later than the trader. The trader is out when things change. The investor is like, oh, I'll give it a bit of time. And that can turn out to be horrible. But the skill set is very, very, very similar. Very similar. Our boss, well done there, my friend, for making 20%. Samsung breakout. Yes, I would imagine that. And the reason for that is that Tesla is made a deal with Samsung. And this is Trump's really changing the world here, quite frankly. Tesla has made a deal with Samsung for Samsung to make Tesla chips, right? And they're really like the latest generation of chips. And where they're going to make them, guess where? They're going to make them in Texas. That was just not a thing. That was just not really a thing. You would have thought they would get made in Korea or Taiwan or China or somewhere. They're getting made there. So this weird tariff policy is really, really changing things. And if you see more of these kind of deals, it's good for Samsung, but it's also good for Tesla. Then if more of these deals actually mean bringing really high-end mass-scale manufacturing to the US, well, it's going to drive the GDP up. It's going to drive stock prices up. So we could be in here for a golden rally, or it could all go to, you know what, I don't have strong political opinions on this. I'm just saying it is peculiar how quickly this is being normalized, that companies are just like, yeah, we're going to build all the chips in the US, and be like, I'm sorry, what? Really? That just wasn't a thing before. Is that you in that video? You have a wine business? I do have a wine business. Yes. My name is also Nikolas. It is Nikolas Felix Prehn. That's what my passport says. And I have a wine business. I have an alcohol business. We trade commodities. We do a bunch of stuff. Apparently, some people's minds are so small, they can't fathom that you could do more than one thing. I was an investment banker. I was a corporate lawyer too, English solicitor, believe it or not. I've done a lot of things. I couldn't really find something in the corporate world or even necessarily in the business world that I really enjoyed. Made money along the way, but I didn't really enjoy it. So when I got to retiring, because my money was actually working for me, and that's a beautiful feeling when you can live off your money and you don't have to do anything ever again. And COVID came around, and I thought, always in the back of my mind was this thing, wouldn't it be nice if everybody could kind of understand how money worked and how the market worked and how you could actually live off it quite very, very nicely with very little effort. So I started making videos for fun, really. And here we are, about 5 years later. And you guys have sort of built this incredible community around this where we just, I'd say, educate people at a different level. You know, we're not just like, buy it, diamond-handed, hold it, and all that. You know, and those guys have, I'm sure, good intentions, but there is a skill gap there. And that's my goal here, is to fill the skill gap. And honestly, my goal is that you guys all know what to do, and one day there won't be a need for us to do this anymore. And that's maybe a little ambitious, but in the meantime, let's get 1 million people to financial freedom, which means you can retire. It means you don't have to go to work. Maybe you want to, but you don't have to. And once you don't have to do stuff, man, life's brilliant. Really, really, really freaking brilliant. Now, Nancy, talented, well, or maybe just not very good at any one thing. That's a way of looking at that too. Do you go back to Germany much? No. No, I'm not a huge fan, to be honest. See, the Germans are lovely people, some of them, but very narrow-minded. It's sort of job for life, career for life. You've got to do one thing, and obviously that doesn't fit me because I like doing lots of things. So no, it's not really. I don't think it ever really was my place. So I left Germany when I was about 15. And B, you don't want to retire. That's okay. I mean, this is my retirement, right? So I do a video for you guys about one a day or so. I probably spend about 2 hours a day on YouTube. And that probably overlaps quite a bit also, which is like my general interest in investing and finance. So it's probably an extra 90 minutes, but I absolutely love it because people in the chat here who are saying, thanks, Felix, I'm retiring, or I made 20% last month, or whatnot, right? And that's the cool thing. Or even better when they're like, I'm teaching my children, or, you know, a chap, they say to you, hey, we're getting married the way we wanted to because we made all the money, or, whatever it is. They're looking after people around them or even doing things themselves that are meaningful to them. That's really the satisfaction. So this is very, very fun. How do you know when your mission to make 1 million people financially free is achieved, says Hannes? Yeah, it'd be hard to put an exact number on that. We have a reasonable idea of what people are doing who are sort of in the community and in academy and so on. So that'll give us a fair idea. And I guess it's also just a little bit about reach. So we get about 3 million views a month on this channel. Well, let's make it 30. Might give us a fairly good stab at it, right? If we get 3% of those people to actually take action, that's probably a pretty good ratio. So that's sort of the way I'm looking at it. David, you love your job? Brilliant, my friend. I'll ask my artist pals to be content director. Yes, and I've also been accused of painting, which is also true. Yes, paint, like the stuff back there, for example. Just don't just do one thing in life, my friends. Life's too full. You're meant to do lots of stuff. You're not meant to sit in a cubicle all your life, do the same stuff. Palantir, tremendous, right? $160.29 pre-market, absolutely extraordinary. SoFi reporting earnings tomorrow, Tuesday, is down 1%. Doesn't make a lot of sense, to be honest. I think it's probably just like a little bit jitters pre-earnings, because earnings are pretty volatile, because with the news we just had, rates should come down. That should be very, very good for SoFi. Would you suggest investing in ETFs to young investors? I'd suggest investing. ETFs are a good place to start, especially if they're broad ones. It's a good way to sort of get your toes wet. And look at this here. Maros Vitz, is that how you pronounce it? I'm sorry, my friend, if I'm butchering your name. People ask me, why do you do this? Because it's my 9 p.m. for a lovely, amazing, beautiful day. And someone writes, Maros Vitz writes, Felix, I'm 68 years old. I follow you for years. I learned a lot during those years. Thank you for making my retirement enjoyable. Very grateful. Like, what more could you want in life? Honestly, what more could you want in life than people sending you messages like this? And I get like dozens of these a day. So that's why there's always a big smile on my face, because it's just a fun thing to do. So find something that's fun for you and meaningful and helps others. And yeah, life will be brilliant. Microsoft's up. What about NVIDIA? NVIDIA is also all-time high. What about Tesla after the Samsung deal? It's popping up, but not that much yet. Yeah, not that much. We're down a little bit from yesterday's high. Your parents must be very proud. Good question. I probably think I'm balmy, to be honest with you. Do stuff for yourself. That's what I would say. But it's great if it can help others, because that makes it more fun. But don't do stuff to please others. I guess that's what I would say. So that's also Winston's new approach. Winston's new approach is he's been a bit naughty of late. Upside down, there he is. Trying to train the naughty out of him again. Carrie says the academy is amazing. I'm ahead leaps and bounds. Brilliant, Carrie, and just keep putting in the work. Keep being careful. Keep focusing on risk management, and keep talking to us, and you learn a ton from people who really, really know what they're doing there. Look at that. That's a little PayPal breakout, isn't it? From Friday. Volume was a bit muted, possibly because earnings are coming up. But that's a very nice little pattern there. What am I talking about? The market moves in predictable patterns, right? Zigzaggy pattern. Some people call it a heartbeat pattern. I'm not really a huge fan of that, but some people do. And then you connect the highs, like I did there with that blue line. Is it blue? Yeah. It looks green to me, thanks to the glasses. And then we break out of that. But what we're missing here, and that's what we watch out for, is we want volume to be about that big. And when that happens, you know that institutional money saw what we saw, and things tend to go to the moon. Do you avoid buying before earnings? yeah, I'd say it's generally a good idea unless there's a really, really good reason to buy before, because it's a pretty much a 50-50 exercise. So yeah, I would generally avoid buying something 3 days before earnings. Even if it shoots up, at least you got certainty, because it could have shot down. It's 50-50, which aren't great odds. Scott, interesting sharing there. Vape is another treasury company, just what we need, isn't it? Where is it trading? Somewhere off the charts, or is there no pre-market for this thing, or is it trading at some ludicrous number? Yeah, it's trading at a ludicrous number, $52. Ah, good God. This was a $10 stock yesterday, so this is up 5x. My friends, don't chase it. It's too late, okay? It's too late. It's up 5x. Maybe it'll go up again by 5x, but at this point, the risk reward isn't there. That would be my advice of the day, no matter how exciting that is. Because owning Bitcoin itself does not make you the best company in the world. Everyone's jumping on this bandwagon. Trade Vision shows incomplete data for Friday. Okay, thanks for letting me know that. I'll send a screenshot. Do you know what data specifically? And I'll ping it over to our team. I told Scott it was too late. Scott says up, up, up. Intuitive machines. Yeah, that's an interesting one. That's an interesting one. There'll be some more info on that later today. I'll put another video on that one, actually. But yeah, interesting setup. Not quite where we want it to be, but almost, I would say. Which is your favorite James Bond? Getting a bit personal there, aren't we? Not this one. I think they've sort of turned James Bond into a bit of a Tom Cruise type thing. I think the old ones are good. I mean, the old Scott's probably the best, I would say. I think that's probably, yeah, I think that probably be my view on that one. All right, what else we got here? 2 minutes, the market opens. Thank you for the notification. It also says it, doesn't it say at the top of the, it says it up here, 1 minute, 34 seconds. CVX pumping. Why? Because everyone's going to have to buy US oil and gas, right? The US oil and gas and military industry seems to kind of run your country. If you hadn't realized that by now, sorry if you want to break it to you, but that seems to be the one. They seem to be the actual government. So yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Right, so there we are. What does Winston make of the whole thing? Winston, any thoughts? Not that many, right? No, not that many. He's pretty happy. What else we got here, my friends? Put it in the chat. Click the like button. GoldenEye. Yeah, that was pretty good. Roger Moore. Yeah, he was also very good. It's true. I actually watched Goldfinger the other day on, I think on a plane. Yeah, on a plane. It's the only place I really watch anything. But Logan, yeah, I think good old Sean was probably best. We still have a little bit of time till the market opens, my friends. We've got, have we? Or are we officially open? My clock says a minute left, but this does not. Let's have a look. Daniel Craig was a total freaking disaster. I think, I mean, a total freaking disaster. I'm sure he's a lovely chap and all that, but it just doesn't, I don't think it fits the role. Anyway, we shall celebrate the opening of the market. This will be very noisy. So for my American friends, this may damage your hearing. There we go. Noise suppression. Yeah, that'll probably do the trick. Right, so what do you think about the Indian stock market? Don't understand it. Very simple. So I don't think I need to understand it. I've got the US market. And that's also one of those things. People always want to do all these things. Just keep it simple. So I was talking about that. I was talking about this to somebody else the other day. Can't get my words out. And they're like, oh, yeah, these advisors are always like, you've got to put in a bit of in an ETF into this tech thing, and a bit of emerging markets, and a bit of this, and a bit of Africa, and a bit of oil, and a bit of ESG. They just make it too bloody complicated. Just keep it really simple. That's really all I'd say to you. Keep it very, very, very simple. How's Tesla doing? Up 0. Where's my mouse? Up 0.4%. This is our heat map now live. Takes about 30 seconds at the beginning of the day. Nope. Seems to take a little bit longer today. I do wanted to ask like at what time that gets updated. Maybe we can pull that forward. Because it's still showing the wrong data, isn't it? Yeah, still showing Friday's data. Interesting. All right, let's have a look at a couple of our favorite tech stocks here. AMD. Wow, indeed. What do we got here? What do we got here? We've got another gap up. How beautiful is life? Gap ups are glorious. They keep the party pumping. So I would expect big volume today. Let's close above that gap up, and this thing it's going to keep steamrolling higher and higher and higher. Loads of green. Pierce Brosnan. I do actually really like Pierce Brosnan. I think he seems like a lovely chap. Pierce Brosnan's son married my friend Brent. Okay, interesting bit of gossip. It causes ear damage, yes, and only for Californians. I got some supplements I was taking this morning, and there's a thing on the back says, warnings for California only, may damage your, I don't know, reproduction or something. I was like, what? You people are crazy over there. Totally crazy. Remember when you used to call it the Bounce Money Destroyer? Bernardo, yes, and proud to have done so, to be honest with you, because okay, I know it's counterintuitive. It's lovely when things go down and they go back up, but I don't want to own it on the way down, because sometimes things don't go up, they stay sideways, or they keep going down, and that's a horrible place to be. So we buy stuff that goes up. It's very simple, and we stop owning it when it stops going up. It's very, very simple. It's like really like the simplest concept in the world. Like, what do you want to own? I want to own stocks that go up. Well, just make that your rule. Right? When they stop going up, they start going sideways, and there are a couple of things you can learn on that, on like early indicators, or when things are about to hit the fan, then you sell and you take profits, big, beautiful profits. You can automate the whole thing and just watch the masterclass. Teaches you the whole thing, 15 minutes. There we go. Righty-ho. So can we see the bloody heat map now? If not, I'm going to have to string up a developer. There we go. We don't have to do no violence today. AMD up 2.4%. Meta is up 1.3%. NVIDIA up 0.8%. Texas Instruments is up 2%. Oil sector is flying thanks to the European vassal states having to buy American oil and gas, to the tune of about 600 billion. So this morning is a beautiful one for pretty much everything, isn't it? So good stuff. Tesla, big deal with Samsung for chips. That as well. Yep, that's good for Samsung. Well, what do you want from me? It looks beautiful, doesn't it? From my flagged entry point to right now, you're up 94% in 38 trading days. Right? But yeah, keep back holding stuff, because it doesn't matter. Like, money doesn't make any money while I'm holding something that's really rubbish and not doing anything. No, that's what I'm talking about. So you hold AMD for like 38 days. Me, on the other hand, I'm in you, and I'm up 95%. Right? Hypothetically, right? So how do you know when a stock finished pulling back, starts breaking out again? It's quite simple, really. So here's a nice example. So this stock did actually collapse pretty badly, right? It was down, how much? It's down 56%. So exit, well, for your trader, it'd be here, your investor maybe a little bit later. And also the line started sloping down here, so everybody should have gotten out there at the very least. And then what happens? Well, it starts to recover, right? Now, Of course, you'd love to buy down there, but you don't know that was the bottom of the market, so you can't possibly do that. When it starts to cross above the 50, the 50-day moving average line starts to slope up again from here. At that point, it becomes interesting. And at that point, you're then just looking for a breakout above the previous highs, essentially, slightly simplified, which is that blue line there, right? So what do you then do? You set up a conditional order that gets triggered when you hit that price point. Price point gets hit. I wasn't the only one to see it, because look at that volume. Volume went from, 7 million shares traded to 33 million. It's almost a 5x increase. Why? Because Wall Street saw the same bloody thing that I saw. Why? Because I learned this from the guys on Wall Street. It's not rocket science. And then what happens? You're up 100%. That's what it's all about. So don't own stuff that's collapsing. Own stuff that's going up. It's really not that difficult a concept. But it's also counterintuitive, and it is not something that anybody would normally naturally do. I get that. I did the wrong thing for many years, until I realized, well, I was taught that this is actually how it works. And I was like, why did nobody teach me this? And they're like, who's got an incentive to, right? Guys on Wall Street know it. They make a lot of money. Why do they want you to know? So there we are. There's a link down below, felixprehn.org/get-free, and you can learn it literally for free. Now, what else have we got here? Pepsi. Yeah, Pepsi's doing it was doing quite a good job. What's it doing at the moment? Is it going up? Is it going down? Is it going sideways? Right? What do you think? Up, down, sideways? Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. Scott bought you May 18th-ish using Felix's rules. I'm proud of you, Scott. That's amazing. So you're up, what, 90% or something, right? Which is pretty good. Sideways, consolidating sideways, indeed it is. So do we buy it there? No, we wait. If you're in it, what happens? You set a stop. Simple, right? KC says you're stuck on CSX. And the stuck is also a mindset. Well, you're stuck in this. That's a good thing to be stuck in. What are you talking about? It's up gloriously, right? Don't know where you bought it, but hopefully somewhere down here. 390% options. Okay, Scott, you did options on it. Well, it's even better, isn't it? How does that feel, Scott, to be up 390% on positions? Most people never see that in their life, in their position, right? Open door. If you want to hand your money over to hedge funds, I've got some lovely friends. Please do. And then they're going to take me out on better yachts and so on next time we go. So yeah, basket case, I would say. What do you think about UFOs? I don't really have an opinion on UFOs. No opinion on UFOs. Dollar General, yeah, that's not looking good. It's not looking good. Nike, yeah, I saw that too. I wonder if that's also trade related or if that was something else. That's a nice little gap up there, and yeah, Nike is turned the corner. It has turned the corner. I mean, it's turned the corner since earnings, but yeah, it looks good. Looks good. MSTR. Yeah. What's it doing? Is it going up? Is it going down? Is it going sideways? Yes, it's gapped up this morning, but it's really ultimately still going sideways, right? So Captain Stubborn, when do I sell my AMD options? You also want to automate that, my friend. Set a trailing stop or something. You want to automate that. Don't let it up to you, leave it up to your emotions. Okay, what else have we got? MSTR still early. Yeah, that's also actually my feeling, but we'll see. It's weird how much it's lagging considering how much Bitcoin's gone up, right? Make Arthur happy and look a cat. That's very well pitched, my friend. Arthur is with his little family troop. They're so sweet. The way they look after each other and stuff is so cute. People always say, oh, cat dads don't care about the kittens. He watches them, he cleans them, he waits for them to eat. It's very, very sweet. Yeah, cats have, it's been a brilliant, brilliant breakout there. Really, really nice one. Andrew will go public. Yeah, that could be an interesting one. I agree with you. I'm not usually a fan of IPOs, but that could actually be perhaps an exception. Depends on how they price it. EOS Energy, yeah, nice gap up. But that was a nice gap up here. A little bit of resistance still from above there, but overall it looks pretty good. Pamela says LHX. Didn't they dump a bit for some reason? No, it still looks pretty good. So it looks very good. That was our entry. Based on our rules, so we're up 20% on it, which is not amazing. You'd kind of think that they would do better than that, given like, you know, all the wars and spending and all that. But yeah, it still looks, it's a nice clean upward trend. So to me, it looks good. Obviously, you got to come to your own conclusion. Figma IPO. Yeah, I don't know. What's so special about Figma? I know everyone uses it. I don't really get it, but then I'm sometimes late on these things. Lucky said he's seen things he can't talk about. Entirely possible. It's in the bathroom with Bill Gates or something like that, perhaps. Now, that was a joke, obviously. What else have we got here? Honest. Yeah, that was actually, saw something about that yesterday. Yeah, and this is why, exactly. Because it's a textbook consolidation. I wouldn't buy it at this point, but it's a textbook consolidation. You see what I'm doing here? Right. Now, every high is ever so slightly lower than the previous one so far. But when you break out of this range here, when you finally take that out, it could really pop. Too early, but it could really pop. What else we got? What was the other one there? Stock. STOK. That looks pretty good to me. I mean, it's pulling back a little bit, but on fairly weak volume, and that usually happens. So things don't go up in straight lines, but overall the trend is alive, right? That's kind of what I watch for. So yeah, looks all right to me. We're one. I'm sorry about that. Yep, you're quite right. We're looking at Stoke Therapy here. It's at 1303 right now. Sort of trend line would probably be at about 1250, something like that. So and the 50 days at 1143. And where one is asking about that because you can't see. We actually have a few students who can't see, which is very, very impressive. You guys can pull that off. So if you ever thought that this is a bit too difficult for me, I haven't got the time for this, well, they can figure it out. I think you can figure it out. We've got people who are quadriplegic and they're making money trading. Imagine that. So you got it very easy. So therefore, you should, come out very, very much on top. But actually, it's probably those guys who come out on top because they have more motivation, they have more focus. Yeah, no, we want to appreciate that. Thanks for tuning in. So guys, I want to say thank you very much for tuning in. It's good news is all around us. It's everywhere I go. So Winston and I say have a big, beautiful day. What happened to Winston? Somebody knocked over my camera. That's what happened to Winston. There he is. Can you see him there? There he is. Sleeping soundly and sweetly. And I wish you a beautiful rest of the week. And we've got a cool video coming out later today. So if you haven't already, smash that subscribe button. And therefore you get a little alert for it when it pops out in about 6 hours or thereabouts. I wish you all the best.